how's it going? It's Al. Week 1 on DraftKings is finally here. And we're going to talk about my first look lineup for this week. This is going to be a Starsy Scrubsy sort of approach for first look because of all the value that's popped up over the last couple of weeks with roster cutdowns and injuries and everything else. We can access some of the most quality players at the highest prices and take a couple of leaps on a couple of cheap value plays, all while staying within the constraints that I like to stay within for tournament building lineups, which is a stack or a double stack with a bring back player and then a non-quarterback affiliated secondary stack. So we get more correlation throughout the lineup with some really superstar talent along this team. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, go to the actual Al Smizzle channel, click on the name there, and go through and watch all the other videos. We got a top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 wide receiver, top 10 running backs, all for week 1, and top 10 value plays for week 1. If you wanted to build your own lineup, I'm doing what I can to try and help you guys. So thank you for being here, and let's go.
He's a legend.
As usual, I like to start over taking a look at the slate overall to find out where the spots we want to attack. So looking at odds and looking at lines and looking at team totals is an important way to get kind of a view of the slate, and also to find out where the more popular spots on it are going to be outside of the more obvious and glaring value plays. People are going to tend to flock towards the higher totaled games, and for good reason. Doesn't mean that a lower totaled game can't go off. It just means a lower probability. So the Vikings favored by 6 over the Buccaneers, total of 45.5. Texans visit Baltimore 44, and Baltimore favored by 10 in this one. So 27 team total for the Ravens, but the Houston Texans not expected to get into the end zone all that much in this game. So 27-17 is a projected score from Vegas. And this doesn't mean it's going to always end up that way. It's just a guide. It's a guide for how you should look at things. San Francisco 49ers 2.5-point favorites over the Steelers in what looks to be a bully ball, slow slogging sort of game with a lot of mouths to feed on the 49ers side. We'll see if Pittsburgh can kind of tune that up and Kenny Pickett can take a step forward this year, and how much he can help this offense be more explosive than it was down the stretch in 2022. The Jaguars face off against the Colts, 5-point favorites, 45 total. Arizona Cardinals, they're going to be a dumpster fire this year. I apologize to dumpster fires all over the world for that comment, comparing them to the tank fest that is going to go on in Arizona. They face the Commanders. This total of 38 is obscene. I don't like it. It's not safe for work. You should block this out. Do not let your children watch this game. Commanders favored by 7. Titans against the Saints, 41. -3 are the Saints. There's some value spots in this one if you want to go that direction. Bengals against the Browns, going to be a popular game. Really high total, very closely contested. 2.5-point favorites are the Bengals, 47.5 total in this one. Panthers against the Falcons. Falcons favored by 3.5, 39.5 total there. Eagles against the Pats. Eagles only 4-point favorites. This is up. I think this was 2.5 points last week. If you track line movement, this went through the 3-point barrier, which is an important barrier for betting, up to a total of 45 in that one. Patriots expect to play slow. We'll see if they can control the pace of this game or if the Eagles are going to really get after it. If the Eagles play more close contested games this year, they may not be as good defensively or as dominant defensively as they were last year. They're still going to be a good pass rusher, but they may not be as good defensively. So if they're not, that means they're going to be in situations where they can't just take their foot off the gas in the second half, and that's really good for us in fantasy. So hopefully that materializes. They give up more points on defense, and then they have to throw more on offense, and then that's really good all around for us as daily fantasy players. Green Bay squares off against the Bears. Favored by 1 are the Bears. Bears are favored, guys. Bears are favored at home against the Packers. 43 total there. The Rams, also a dumpster fire. Probably going to be without Cooper Kupp in that one. 5.5 is this one against the Seahawks. 46.5 is the total. Dolphins and Chargers, the highest total on the slate at 51. Chargers favored by 3 in Los Angeles, which means this is pretty much viewed as an even game, as you typically get 3 points for being at home. And the Broncos square off against the Raiders. Broncos favored by 4, total of 44.5. Make sure you get into the Smiz Gang Listener League because it's going to fill. 100% going to fill before lineups lock. We've already got, like, first look hasn't even hit YouTube yet. Well, okay. First look has hit YouTube yet because you're watching it on YouTube right now. Hi, YouTube. Go to smizzle.tv/links. That link is right down below in the pinned comment. You can go there and find the link to the Listener League. 5,500 entries, $55,000 in the prize pool, $10 to enter 3 max. I will shout out the winners on the recap video on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. That link is also there in the link tree. And you should join the Discord. Every year for the past 8 years, I've written a Best Buys column. That is no longer going to be on ESPN. I am choosing to not write it anymore because it's the most stressful part of my week. If you enjoyed that article, there is still a way to access the players that I would have included in the article. That's going to be in our Discord. If you're a channel member on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch, yes, I'm live on Twitch a whole lot during football season. That link also available in the link tree. Go through that. Give me a follow on Twitch. It's much easier to get to know you there. And if you're a channel member here, $5 a month, or a YouTube subscriber there, $5 a month, you get access to that cheat sheet every single week with cash game tournament plays and everything else. So get in our Discord. It's the biggest value add for the membership every single week here as part of the Smiz Gang. So let's take a look at the quarterbacks. After all of that, all the totals and everything, let's look at the highest total games. We said that Lamar Jackson, not Jacksonville, has a 27 team total on the day. This is going to be a faster paced offense. This is going to be a much faster paced offense than what you're used to in the past. Unlearn what you have learned about the Baltimore Ravens, because you say Baltimore Ravens, you think running, slow, not a lot of passing, not a lot of pass attempts. This is going to be a different offense. This is not going to be the 25 to 30 pass attempt offense unless they're winning by like 50, right? This is going to be a 30 to 40 pass attempt offense every single week. Lamar Jackson's still going to be Lamar Jackson and do Lamar Jackson things. But with the new offensive coordinator that they have, with the beefed up receiver core that he has, in addition to already having one of the top receiving tight ends in the game in Mark Andrews, historically one of the best receiving options at tight end, in fact, you add Odell Beckham Jr., you add the rookie Zay Flowers, you get Rashad Bateman back, and now this is a team that has 4 legitimate weapons in the passing game for Lamar Jackson to go at. I think he's going to be a very viable option if you wanted to pay up at quarterback. Jalen Hurts, he's always fine. The question's going to be, do I have to stack Jalen Hurts, or can I play naked Jalen Hurts in tournaments? No, you shouldn't. You can. There's nothing stopping you. You do whatever you want. Play whoever you want to play. Make your lineups however you want to make them. It doesn't mean that it's a smart way to do it. You could pedal a bike with your hands. It doesn't make it a good darn idea. So the reason we're saying you want to double stack quarterbacks, even quarterbacks who run the football a little bit, is he did throw 25 touchdowns last year. The days that he is winning you a tournament, we're going to isolate for days that he's scoring over 30 DraftKings points, and look at what he does on those days. This day, 24 DraftKings points. You're not winning a tournament anyway, whether you stacked him, double stacked him, or played him alone. You're not winning. Okay, so this week we're throwing out. Okay, week 2 though, 37 points. Yeah, you could win. Yeah, he ran in 2 touchdowns that day. He also completed 26 passes. DraftKings full PPR, had 333 yards. Those yards had to go to receivers, y'all. And he threw for a touchdown. 3 touchdowns in week 2 on a 30-point day. 340 yards, 22 receptions. That's a lot of points. So if your opponents aren't willing to stack a high volume, and he is a high volume quarter, 38 attempts, 35 attempts, 37 attempts, 39 attempts, and we isolate for these days, go through his game log and look at the games where he had over 30 fantasy points. And if you want to, look at what the receivers did on that day. He can most certainly support 2 pass catchers. This goes for Lamar Jackson. It goes for Jalen Hurts. Slow your roll on Justin Fields with double stacks. He can do it. It doesn't mean that you should do it unless it's ridiculous value for those wide receivers, because unlike Lamar Jackson and unlike Jalen Hurts, he is not going to throw the ball 35, 40 times a game. It's not going to happen. So this is a low volume passing offense, and that's why we're not going to double stack. But if he has one of those monster days, 43 fantasy points, 45 fantasy points, he's still throwing for some touchdowns on those days. It's not all his legs. 147 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 178 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Still threw for 5 touchdowns through the air in those games, and stacking him with one guy is probably the way to go for a low volume running quarterback. You're still going to attach him to wide receiver, because if he has that day where he's going to win you a tournament, type of output where he wins you a tournament, there's going to be touchdown passes, and somebody's going to be on the other side of them. So you want to have that guy in your lineup as well, and bring it back with somebody on Green Bay is certainly the play. Joe Burrow, stud. I am acting as though Joe Burrow is going to play this Sunday. If Joe Burrow does not play this Sunday, if he's not fully back from this calf injury, if they decide to rest him, because it's more important for them to have him totally healthy and available in December and January, and hopefully for them in February. To them, they hope they're, not to me, hopefully. I don't care who wins or loses. And they decide to rest him, and Joe Burrow doesn't play. Come here. If Joe Burrow doesn't play in week 1, don't play Joe Burrow in week 1. High level analysis that I think you should pay attention to moving forward. Justin Herbert, the highest total guy on the slate, quarterback of the highest totaled offense on the slate, highest totaled game on the slate. We all expect him to have the season this year that we wanted him to have last year. It's not like he had a bad year last year. He just didn't throw for a lot of touchdowns. This offense was pathetic on first and second down, with like having the guy with maybe the biggest arm in the league have a yards per attempt of like 5 yards on first down. Probably bad offense. It's borderline offensive coordinator malpractice. Well, they have a different offensive coordinator this year. Kellen Moore coming over from Dallas. They're going to challenge more downfield. We're going to I believe we're going to have more emphasis on Gerald Everett as a tight end. Quentin Johnson does not look like he has beaten out Josh Palmer for the wide receiver 3 spot. So now you got 4 quality wide receivers, 3 of them really high pedigreed wide receiver. I don't think Josh Palmer is a really high pedigree wide receiver, but he is a professional wide receiver who has operated in this offense. Maybe he gets passed by Quentin Johnson later on in the season, and a professional tight end with Parham behind him. So a lot of passing options. I think that they're going to take advantage of that this year, and a lot of ways to go, including pairing him with his running back in Austin Eckler, who usually I'm not going to stack through a running back, but if a running back garners over 15% of the target market share, I'm okay doing that. Tua, fine. Trevor Lawrence, fine. Kirk Cousins, like, I get it if you're going to stack that way. But the guy that we're going to use in this lineup this week is Deshaun Watson. I want to go a little bit cheaper at quarterback because I like the way that the rest of the lineups look by taking off 1,000 or 2,000. It doesn't mean I'm not going to have in my millionaire maker lineups, and the milli maker in week 1 is really only $5. If you want to choose that, there's 3 tiers. I think there's a $5, $100, and then a $4,444. So get in where you fit in with the millionaire makers in week 1 on DraftKings. But Deshaun Watson, in a game that I think Cleveland's going to be able to score, they're going to have to go. All the camp reports that the passing offense doesn't look good. I kind of mute a lot of that stuff. I look more for sample size and who's playing with guys. I'm going to double stack Deshaun Watson for this lineup at 6K because it gives me similar upside. A player who has averaged 24, 25 fantasy points per game on DraftKings in the past. He may or may not be that same guy now. Bad human, sure, but like, whatever. We're trying to win money, so I've got to do what I've got to do to try and win money. So isolating to this game, Amari Cooper, the number 1 target in my estimation, for him going into this season. The run-in last year, a lot of targets, didn't really amount to much. I think this offense is going to operate a lot cleaner and a lot better this season. And playing at home in week 1, I'm going to use Cooper. I'm also going to go to David Njoku at tight end for this reason. 1, touchdown upside is key, and I want to attack that. Also, I'm paying up a little bit here to 4,200. 1 at the tight end position, and 2 over Elijah Moore, who's going to be an extremely popular play for value this week, where a lot of people are going to lean on this. I think this is more of a boom or bust play. If he scores a touchdown, it's obviously a boom play. But I'm going to get a little contrarian while also filling this tight end spot with my double stack. And there's options to bring it back, right? Like if we wanted to use Irv Smith as the tight end and go with Moore, which I think is going to be one of the more popular routes that people are going to choose, not the Irv Smith route, but the Cooper and Moore outlook, that's fine. He's looked really good in camp. If you can't afford it, you want to go for the value with T. Higgins and pay up a little bit more at running back, I'm okay with that. But I can afford Jamar Chase, and so I'm just going to use Jamar Chase. The analysis here is he's really good, so we're just going to go with him. Why don't we take a look over at Underdog Fantasy, see if we can build a pick 'em. Oh, look, they've got a little special right now. Thursday Night Football. Do you think that Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for over a half of a passing yard or rushing yard? Total yards. It includes rushing yards. I'm going to go higher on that one. So we're getting a special here. And let's stack up this game because this allows us to go. You have to go from 2 different games. So we're going to correlate through this. Let's go higher than 80 receiving yards. Let's go with our stack. Let's go. Oh, they took this off the board while I was waiting because I queued this up. I'm going to go higher, higher, and higher. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go with all of this game. I can, this is a max of what? 20? Max of 10 here. We're going to submit this for a max of $10. Confirm. Bang. There is our entries right here. We're over gang for sure. Lowers are sharper. And if you want to be better, You can get up to $100 deposit bonus on Underdog Fantasy if you use the promo code ALSMIZZLE. Get up to $100 on your first deposit to the site. Just use promo code ALSMIZZLE, and you can use that to make your own pick'ems, or before the season starts, get in one of their best ball leagues that are fantastic. The Best Ball Mania 4 is about to fill. But if you want to make sharper decisions on your pick'em, go over to unabated.com. Unabated Sports has great tools to help make you a better. Go to smizzle.tv/bet. Or at checkout, you sign up here for the early bird, and you can get a 5-day free trial if you use promo code SMIZ at checkout, or just using my link, smizzle.tv/bet. They have a whole lineup thing here where you can go through your pick'ems, sort by whatever sport you want to play. They have NCAA football, MLB, WNBA. When NBA comes back out, you plug in whatever projections you want to use. You can upload your own or use the ones that are affiliated with their site. And you can go right through here and find the ones that have the biggest edge, stack them up, and get after it on Unabated Sports. Be a better. Go check out the tools that they have over on Unabated Sports today. Getting back to the lineup, we've got our main double stack, we've got our bring back play, and we've got to get some value now. So I've got a couple of value plays for us to look at. They're going to be our standalones. They may be popular this week. We talked about Elijah Moore. I did a whole video on top values for week 1. Definitely go check that out. It's right here on the main channel. It's the top 10 values on DraftKings for week 1. Came out last Friday, still viable today. Go check it out. I'm going to use 2 of the plays from that video. We're going to start at running back, and we're going to go to Indianapolis. Let's get this game off of here. And they have 2 running backs in this spot because Jonathan Taylor is out with arguing with owner, and Zach Moss, also hurt, has not even returned to practice yet, which leaves 2 guys. We have the rookie, Evan Hull. Fantastic picture here. Looks like one of my characters from Zomboid. 4,000, but I'm going to go with Deion Jackson, who right now appears to be the starter. Was very good in spots last year where he had to fill in. Week 18, 17 points. Filled in week 6 for 28 points. Week 5 for 31 points. Those 2 weeks, he was 5,205K and did extremely well. This week, he's 4,100. So I'm going to take the value here with Deion Jackson. We're also going to highlight a Denver receiver. They cut and injured everybody in Denver. Jerry Jeudy, we're assuming that he's not going to play. He was not placed on injured reserve, which is good news for you if you drafted him in your season-long leagues, because it means he doesn't have to miss the entire first month of the season, first 4 games. He can come back sooner. It does not appear that he's going to be ready for week 1, but it looks like a 1 or a 2-week situation as opposed to a 4 weeks plus situation, which is good news for you Jerry Jeudy folks. But with Tim Patrick out and KJ Hamler out, and they signed Philip Dorsett, like maybe he steps into this role, but like Marvin Mims, we know that Cortland Sutton is going to be a value. He just is, right? He's been a value all through draft season, and he's going to be a value in week 1. If you're playing cash games, he's going to be a solid play. But Marvin Mims is going to be forced into a lot of extra snaps and should see an elevated amount of targets. If he sees 4, 5, or 6 targets, it's very easy for him to achieve value in this game. If he catches 3 balls for 50 yards, that's 8 fantasy points at 3K without a touchdown. If he misses value, if he has 6 fantasy points, 7 fantasy points, 8 fantasy points, it's not that big of a deal. It's a bigger deal when you miss value on the expensive players, where if a 8K guy has 6 fantasy points, it doesn't hurt you when a 3K guy does, but it definitely hurts you when the guy you pay up for it does. But this allows us, with Deion Jackson and Marvin Mims Jr. and David Njoku and the value that exists on Cooper and taking that leap here on Deshaun Watson, that leaves us with a running back and a flex and a defense. We have $18,800 remaining, which is absurd. Paying down a defense, clearly in vogue. I don't care who it is. Find a cheap defense. We have 8.3K left. You know who's a good running back in a really high total game? Austin Eckler's a really good running back and the perfect DraftKings back. He's a 5-box running back. For those of you who are new to the channel, appreciate you coming here. Why don't you drop a subscribe on the channel if you're still here? I come out with a lot of content over the course of an entire NFL week for the entire NFL season. So thank you for watching to this point. If you're still here, drop a like, subscribe to the video. I think like 40% of y'all that watch the videos on the channel right now aren't subscribed. So let's correct that. Let's do that. 5 boxes for our running backs. Are they playing at home? Austin Eckler? Check. Does he have involvement in the passing game? Check. Expectation of 20 opportunities? Check. Does he get the inside the 5 work? Check. Home and favored. He is home. Check. Favored. Check. That's 5 checks. Okay? Checks off all the boxes. The perfect DraftKings running back. 22 fantasy points a game. 20 touchdowns. Doesn't even have to run for 1,000 yards, y'all. Doesn't have to do it. Does not have to, because he gets so many targets. 131 of them last season, 109 catches, including the playoff game that they played. Just so involved in this offense, which leaves us with 8,200 for a wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, he's 8,800. He's good every week. The weeks that you can get him at a depressed ownership percentage are better than the weeks that he's the chalk. If he goes off as the chalk, great. He's never going to be below like maybe 12-13% because he's that good of a player. But if you can get him on those weeks where he has 12 or 13% of the field on him and he scores 35 points, awesome. But we can't afford him. Cooper Kupp hurt. Adams fine. Brown fine. We already have Chase, but guess who's 8,200 on the cover for this video? One of the biggest play game, the breaker of slates, as he has been deemed in the past. 45 points in week 2, 28 points, 32 points. Can do it in one play, but the amount of volume that he got last year was just tremendous. 12 targets, 13 targets, 14 targets, 15 targets. He can do it for you in 5 or 6 targets, but they just give him so many more bites at the apple in a fantastic offense. Dome game, high scoring environment. Tyreek Hill to finish this off seems absurd. Deshaun Watson double stack with Cooper and Njoku. We're bringing that back with Jamar Chase. He's really good. Deion Jackson value, Marvin Mims value, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill. Find a defense to make it work and hope that they score a couple of points. Thank you guys for being here. Hope that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you join our Discord. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.